data. The operational team will do all the operations going on in the city, and marketing team presents our plant to the various hospitals, institutions, and corporations to collaborate. And financial team will take over all the finance related problems. And business and development team do the work how we will modify the product. So next I will proceed forward to our
in Toho project app development. Okay, so I don't want to waste your time. So let's move to our app. Okay, so plus 50% is under maintenance. So actually I'm just showing a dummy model in front of you all. So and the user first have to download the app from the Play Store. Okay, or any other sources like from the website you can download the app. Okay, so as you are seeing in the front of screen, it's a registration page. It's a registration activity. The user when it comes on the app, the very first is shown is the registration activity. Okay, here. So at the top of the screen, we can see that logo of the Toho is mentioned over there, and beside the logo there is a mode of registration. Like we can register as doctor, patient, or the chemist. Okay, so and suppose we are registering the app as a doctor. So first of all, I have used the OTP verification over here, and the OTP verification is applied by the Google APIs. So here, first of all, the doctor will write its number, and he have to select the department. After the selection of department, he have to select the terms and conditions. And after the selection of terms and conditions, he have to select the privacy policy and continue it. So the submit button will continue to the next activity. So and if the user is already registered, so he can log in. Into the app. Okay. Actually, at the bottom, already registered option is available over here. So if you are already registered, so you can log in here. So and the other section, this section is a login activity. So we provide a unique username and password to every user for the user login. And if we don't want to register, so he also can log in as a Facebook account, Google account, or a Twitter, or the LinkedIn account. Okay, so it's another thing. Okay, I'm just showing a dummy model that I'm logging as a patient. So basically the slider over here represent the recent added hospital. Okay, and beside this there is a notification section, doctors list, and in the notification section we will show the all type of notification, like Dr. Kriti Pata is from City Hospital and she's on leave for a week. So we cannot contact this doctor for a week. So all this type of notification is available over here. Like the second notification is about the Phoenix Hospital. So due to some strike reasons, actually the hospital is not available. So all this type of notification is available over here. And the second is the doctor's list. Okay, so doctor's list, in the doctor's list, another section is the doctor's list. So here we will represent all the doctors which are in the all of hospitals. Okay, and another section is nearby doctors. So actually in the nearby doctors, first of all we look at our location, and the doctors which are inside near about us, it's shown over in the map. Okay, so and the same is for blood availability module. The blood availability modules tells us which actually suppose we need a blood. So we came here in the blood availability section, and we can choose which type of blood we want. Okay, and another section is seat availability. So basically seat availability module just check out how many seats are available in our hospital. Okay, and another is token section. The token section simply means which token is running out in that hospital. Okay, another section is about the section. The about the section is mentioned about all the developers which are work in a team. So thank you so much guys, and I would like to call another member to proceed further. Thank you.
And I managed
world. So as you can see, we also have a website which is under development in this area. So we have apps and website. You can choose according to your comfort whether what you want to use. So next, I would like to call all my team members on the stage. And also have a
Exactly the same problems. And I think, of course, your market plan, trying to get this abroad, must be interesting for many countries, absolutely. So I hope to see you in Sweden, even though it's much colder in Sweden, but still it's a nice country and so on. But I have a question. Have you also done some sort of estimation regarding how much cost can a society save by using this? I mean, the queues must be shorter, the doctors must be more prepared, mistakes must be avoided, etc. Have you considered and done something regarding costs?
That's a very we are trying to acquire the market base by providing free services to the users in the basic version plan. So when we acquire a good market base, then we will charge some support, and user can choose the plan, like plan 1, plan 2, plan 3. In plan 1 you have services like you get top priority in this, and in plan 2 you have services like you can get the free delivery of medicines, and like this we are planning to do this thing. So we are focusing on making our products self-sustainable first, then we will focus on the funding and the expansion next.
Their suggestion, how much of the savings you're doing, that's one thing. Second, that was the one which you wanted to tell. So you need to do that as well. And you need to also estimate the cost of this project if you want to do it in any other country in terms of dollars. Then it can be changed in the other currency as well. So the feedback which he has given, I think I'll transfer it to you and help you in contact with that. And rest, we will stay in touch and see what next can be done. Alright?
Thank you very much.
Got any questions about Martin's presentation on electric road system or Jan's presentation from Sweden, so that we can get some answers in between? Any questions regarding the same do you have, or you've understood the technology? That's what is accepted if I'm not wrong. So no questions means everyone is, either they have understood everything or they've not understood anything. So, very simple. Any questions from anyone, even the faculty sitting over here from different departments? Because it was very clear from Martin's presentation that this is not only about one engineering branch or only for engineers. It's a complete business model. We have to work together. That means all the engineering team has to work together. Along with that, it needs to be financially viable, which India is right now struggling. And I and John have experienced it yesterday, because people here in India are totally confused at top level that, oh, Sweden did it this way, so we should follow that. We didn't know that. So any questions from the audience? Because I think the presentation is about to get uploaded. Any questions? Yeah, please.
Have experience in such thing and seen and such models here in India. Thank you so much for bringing us to India for us. But one quick question as a layman, and maybe if I have to use such systems in the future. So we have talked about a lot of high energy transmissions happening, and do we actually go for, when we talk about electrical transmissions, there are a lot of safeguards in place. So you see that there are more leakages or from a human safety perspective. So do we get kind of, what are the chances of any kind of electrocution happening if one were to use it on a mass scale? I mean, if I'm there in an individual capacity, I'm protected, that's fine. But if I had to like roll it out in a mass scale, so what are the safety measures that could possibly like, build into that model and see how it works? So that was my question.
I continue. In Sweden, we have a big focus on safety. Safety comes always first. We never deploy anything if we are sure about the safety. So we, of course, for each technique, we are doing a very deep risk assessment. And after that, we are not allowed to go out on public roads. So each system has a number of safety barriers to avoid things that could happen. And we try to think the unthinkable that could happen. So we are analyzing all the risks and trying to deal with them. But this is a demonstration, this is research and development, so we learn a lot during this process. But I think many of these systems are already today quite safe. Because if you take, for instance, the one we are going to test in the southern part of Sweden, the energy is only set on when the vehicle is above. It's a smart system. So you can't reach anything that has power. But what happens if, for instance, there is another car that is hitting that road boundary system and something happens? So all these issues are analyzed, absolutely. You may say.
Yes, I agree. Interesting and very important question, because safety, of course, is something which always must be taken into account. And myself, I have made another project where we studied this, for example, the technology in the movie. We thought about having a use case where a shorter distance, a rail which is only 2 or 3 meters, that would be outside someone's house, or maybe a house with apartment, for using that kind of ground-based technology or to charge cars that are parked, standing still there. And then when we talk about this and analyze the use case, there always, of course, was this question: what happened if there would come a cat or a dog or even a child? So there must be safety measures. And what is in the technology, what the developers are already implementing, is that there are sensors that from the feeding side that senses if there is a vehicle, but also senses that there can't be any objects, living objects that are there. So yes, it is taken care of, but probably more work needs to be done. So thank you again for the question.
Thank you so much, John, for answering the question. So I think we're ready with the presentation, and we'll not little bit over here.
A very good afternoon to our respected guests who are present. Makes a very good effort for us, and it gives a very good opportunity for us that we present ourselves in front of you. Thank you, directors and everybody, and thanks a lot to our students who give us a golden opportunity to represent ourselves. So without wasting our time, I would like to describe what's my today's project is. Yes. Our project, what we have to do? We have to do a 2.5 Ti turbo diesel engine into a 40 kVA electric generator. What's the purpose behind using it? The purpose is that after a certain amount of time, the diesel engine got get a scrap, and we have to reuse it. With the purpose of generating a generator, we can reuse it by making a scrap of that. In that, we choose a Bolero engine, a 2.5 liter DI engine. So our main target is that to buy assembly this and equip with an alternator which can finally make a generator. Here are some formulas and which tells about what's the synchronous state
Good afternoon to all my respected teachers and respected guests. Welcome to India, and I am going to explain you how we saw that it is needed for India. Because in India there is a government firm which decides what laws and decisions to be imposed on country in the next few years. So it is called Niti Aayog. So they said that in India by 2030, India should only sell electric vehicles by 2030, and it should be every diesel and petrol cars should be banned by 2050. So what we gonna do with those petrol and diesel cars? So all we were gonna do is just sell them in scrap. So can we use them in any other task? That is what our project is all about. So, coming to the point, in India there are very poor farmers and small industries who cannot afford to buy a very costly generator. For example, there is a very big company in India that Kirloskar. So Kirloskar sells a generator of 60 kVA or at a price of about 6 to 7 lakh rupees. So everybody cannot afford that. So it is a big institute. So in order to make available the generator to everybody, we are going to do this. So somehow we are able to make that generator in under 1 lakh rupees. So he is going to save 4 to 5 lakh rupees at every genset. That is all our project is. And since the farmers and the small scale industries are the backbone of Indian economy, so it will help the Indian economy with a great aspect, and that's all our project is. And now my friend Anand will discuss and elaborate this topic more.
Good afternoon everyone, my name is Arvind Gupta and I will tell you about the impact on the environment of our project. So, we are using a diesel engine, that is a scrap, and it is not beneficial for the environment. So, we are using a old engine and we are reusing it. So, we are saving money, material and manpower. And when we do mass production, we will save money and we avail the generator at low cost, which is affordable by everyone. And thus our nation economy will get improved. And this is our stage of progress of work. First of all, I have done planning. In planning section, we have decided to disassemble the engine from the chassis, and we have decided how we control the vibration and many more things. After that, we have done survey and inspection, in which we have done cost analysis, in which we have found that old engine which we can buy is about rupees 50,000, and the generator alternative which we avail is about rupees 50,000. So total sum will be 1 lakh, and engine assembly is on progress. And now the project will continue by Umang Singh.
So our goal of project is to reduce, reuse and recycle of the scrap of a diesel engine by increasing its efficiency and using it at the better prices. Thank you.
So basically their project, it is what everyone is, be out of waste. As we were there in discussion yesterday, you might have understood that there is a certain timeline or maybe a certain period to get the licenses to run the vehicle as a registration. Beyond that, what would happen to the machine? It can run. Of course, it can be given back to the steel company to melt it down, but a few of the components cannot be. So it is one of the methods by which it can be again reused for other purposes in different areas, and can be the product which is not affordable to to the people in village. For example, an electric generator is not affordable by the people to buy a brand new electric generator for house. They can purchase